Welcome to Dropout 22, a GD Media production. The Rugby World Cup has entered the knockout stages. Ladies and gentlemen, it is getting exciting. We've got great panellists for you tonight. Welcome aboard! On tonight's show, joining us all the way genuinely from Sydney, Australia, we've got Patrick Andrews. We've got Welsh touch rugby hero Guy Griffiths joining us on the phone. And in the studio, representing tart and whiskey, shortbread and alcoholics everywhere, it's Martin McDonald. Now it's the knockout stages. Stuart Lancaster's men are out. We promise not to talk about them. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. A special welcome to Patrick Andrews. Just tell our listeners where you are in the world.
I'm in the sunny shores of Sydney. It's 7:30 in the morning and 24 degrees. Today's going to be a hot day.
So let's start off with that game on Saturday. Guy, what was your take on it?
What a disappointing absolute letdown, to be honest. Before I get going, Patrick, it's about minus 24 degrees where I am right now, so automatically hate you. But,
I guess that's 2-0 to me then.
It was what a letdown. To be honest, I think Pat will agree with me as well. We dominated, but we weren't in the slightest bit clinical. We got over the line 4 times, which is a positive in most games. But being held up on the line 4 times is a massive negative. We lacked a bit of spark, we lacked a bit of creativity. I think we missed an actual ball playing centre. We put 2 big men in the centre, and Australia loved every second of it. Australia well worth their win. I do believe they were the best team on the day, even though we dominated, because you don't deserve to win games when you play like that and just don't score. But it's just a disappointing result, to be honest.
Disappointing for Wales, and just another routine win against the Welsh for the Aussies, was it, Pat?
Just about. No, nothing routine about that match. It was epic in every sense of the word. I feel a little bit for you. That was you came out there. You really gave it to us, which I felt I didn't anticipate. I thought we were going to be a bit more comfortable in that one, but that was one for the ages, and we certainly cemented our shot as some real favourites for the tournament.
There was a situation in the second half where Wales found themselves playing against 13 men. Guy, is that where it was lost?
Clearly, I think doing that 13 men, we crossed the line twice out of the 4 times, but the extra pass might have made a difference. Might have given us a one-on-one where our big men could actually break through. We were on that brick wall all day. Being fair to the Aussies, they tackled their guts out. It's the first time that Warren Ball has worked, but not worked. If that makes a bit of sense, because we went forward, and we ended up with 6 points. So just got the halfback. It's bitterly disappointing because the Aussies were there for the taking. The best team won on the day because they took their chances, but on another day we could have scored a bonus point. It's that disappointing.
And Pat, I was chatting to Will Genia after the game. Just dropped that one in there.
That's what it does.
And he just said it just epitomised the way that the boys have been going about their training camp. I mean, if either the Aussie media team are working overdrive or Michael Checker has really got them buying into it, because whatever player you talk to, they talk about this going day to day and trying to improve a little bit every day and coming out and putting what they're doing into training on a Saturday. What do you reckon it is? Are they well media trained, or have you seen a genuine change since Michael Checker's taken over?
No, definitely a genuine change since Michael Checker's taken over. I was actually talking about this last night over a couple of beers, and the difference in the team to 12 months ago when Ewan McKenzie resigned and Czech has taken over is phenomenal. It's not just a whole bunch of different players. It's a difference within the mindset of the organisation. Various other coaches that he's brought in. Matt Ledesma, who's taken over for Scrum coaching. He's got Stephen Larkham working with the backs in attack. He's got Nathan Gray as the defensive coach. There's a whole setup change. There's a whole mindset change. And, I've been saying it for weeks. They look focused. They're not worried about anything else. They're just taking it one game at a time, as cliche as that sounds, and really, going out there putting in a shift. I'm
joined in the studio by fellow Celt Martin McDonald. Mac, welcome to the show. What did you make of it as a neutral?
Thanks for having me, G. Thanks for having me, boys. I think the game itself. Australia just showed the defensive prowess, didn't they? They were, after watching the England game, I thought they were going to go all the way, but they just showed it. They got the defence as well as the attack this week, and that's about it really. I'm just worried for Scotland on Sunday.
We'll get on to previewing Australia against Scotland, but just want to take it back to that period when the Aussies were down to 13 men. Craig Joubert's been criticised by a few for his handling of the scrum. I asked Warren Gatland what he made of Joubert's performance in the post-match press conference. Just give a listen to this. What was your interpretation of Craig Joubert in the breakdown? It seemed to me they were going off their feet a fair bit in the.
I can't really comment on the referees. Otherwise, I'll get a huge fine.
So Gatland obviously keeping his cards close to his chest. There is only so much he can say. Guy, you can speak for him. What did you make of Joubert on Saturday, and what do you make of him generally as a referee?
Yeah, his silence spoke louder than any sort of comment could. Really, he doesn't really get on with him, Joubert, as a Welsh coach. He's always trying to butter him up in the week going up to it, saying he's a personable bloke. He gets on with him well. He can have lots of conversations with him. And then somehow, every time we rock up on a Saturday and play with Joubert, we get about 25 penalties against us. He doesn't get on with the Welsh. It's nothing against him. It's just the way he referees. He definitely crumbles under the pressure, and he definitely seems to favour the stronger nations. He did it for us when we beat Scotland, when we kicked a world record amount of penalties, because there was no way we were that much better than Scotland that day, and we absolutely stuffed them just by half been kicking all day. He showed down the World Cup final basically that, and when the pressure's on, he's not really up to the job, because I'm sure he knows the rules. He referees everything. He referees everything quite calmly, and he seems like he's in control. And all of a sudden there's a whistle coming from absolutely nowhere, and that's once a minute. And to be honest, every time I watch a game where Joubert's refereeing, it seems to spoil it slightly, because you could pretty much call that game beforehand, and it's going to probably go in favour of the bigger nation, and it's probably going to be a kick fest. So he's not really up to much, because he doesn't really seem to have the temperament to be a world class referee, considering he's been put on a pedestal and been a World Cup final ref. So in my personal opinion, I don't think he's up to it.
So World Cup final. Let's just take all the nations out of it. Anyone can be in the final. Mac, who do you want to see referee in the final?
Oh, it's got to be Nigel Owens, isn't it? He shows his. He's very strict on the pitch. He doesn't take any crap from players. He's very, very straight down the line, and he referees the game well. Not every referee's going to see everything, but he pretty much sees basically everything. And so I think I would agree with that.
Pat, you on that line?
I agree with Nigel Owens being the referee of choice. I certainly don't agree with a team that had two players from the opposition sent off at the same time and then complain about the referee. Typical Kiwi, isn't it, really, to bitch and moan about a referee? But I'll leave that one there for now.
Do you not think that you illegally brought down those scrums? How many scrums were there on your own line? There's no way that you can tell me that you legally scrummaged your way out of that one.
I think it's cute that a 9/10/15 last week thinks he knows anything at all about a scrum.
I'm asking you. You tell me.
Granted, you're Welsh. It doesn't mean anything. Do I think there was more penalties there? Do I think there should have been illegal? Absolutely not. I think there were many times where you got stood up The scrum got shifted. We dominated the scrum with 7 players, or Adam Ashley Cooper on the side. We were by far the more superior scrum. I don't know what game you watched.
All right, then we'll leave the front row for now, then, and I'll go back to what I know. Apparently, I caught up with Dan Biggar after the game to get his view on the performance.
Thanks, Dan. We've had a lot of centre partners combinations over the last 12 months or so. How do you think George went today, and what's it like having to constantly sort of adapt to the boys you got outside you?
Yeah, it's not easy. It's obviously we're swapping and changing quite a bit at the minute, but I think George did well. He physically, defensively matched their back line and things. So yeah, he looked sharp, and obviously hopefully we can play a little bit more next week and bring him into the game if he's playing in that position.
There's no fears going into next week. You beat him in the autumn, and what it takes to beat the South Africans.
No fears. Absolutely. Of course, we've got huge respect for them, the players they've got on the side and what they've achieved. Absolutely, but yeah, certainly, whoever we're playing in the cause, we wouldn't fear. So it's just about us being positive. Hopefully, the country will get behind us as they have been over the last 3 or 4 weeks, which has been awesome. And let's all try and be positive about we're in the quarterfinals of a World Cup with a huge opportunity to get to a semis.
And what was it like out there? Obviously, usually you come to Twickenham and you can sort of try and pick out the red shirts. Today there was an absolute sea out there. That must have been a bit weird.
Yeah, it was strange. It was it's probably the first time we've played at Twickenham in a neutral venue, really, essentially. Which was good. It was different. It was a bit of a different atmosphere there and things. So it was good. Good Welsh supporters, as always, were awesome, and we're certainly going to need that next week. And fingers crossed, they can just give us a bit of help.
Good man. Go well next week.
Nice one. Cheers.
So, Mac, Dan Biggar there saying absolutely no fears when it comes to facing the South Africans on the weekend. Your boys have played against them already this World Cup. What did you make of them?
I think he's saying that well because they beat them. They beat them last year. They're obviously going to hold no fears to a team they've already beaten. They beat them well. They played well last November when they beat them. I think the thing that they should be afraid of is the fact that when South Africa got beat by Japan, they were that shook them. I think that shook them to the core, and they've obviously just woken up. And every team they've played against since, they've sort of swept aside. They've powered their way to wins. I don't think when Scotland played them, Scotland didn't particularly play badly. They just got completely outmuscled. When you've got 6'9" second rows like De Jager and Etzebeth, then you're going to be struggling. But I think Wales have proven their defensive capabilities before. I think they'll prove it again. I think it's going to be within 7 points. To be honest, I think it'll be that close.
So, Patty, Mac alluded to it there. The selection has been made today by the Springboks. Only the one change from last weekend. JP Peterson coming in on the wing for Mvovo. You guys play against them more than anyone in the world. What have Wales got to do to beat them again?
I think arguably South Africa have the best squad at the World Cup. I think they've got a problem with their organisation. They've got some quality players, some real depth, and they're an older team, but they know how to play. They know how to play footy. They know how to win, and it should be a very interesting match. I actually can't see Wales doing too much against the South Africans. They practically got outmuscled by us, and the South Africans will be outmuscling everyone. So should be a very interesting match. I hope you give them a run for their money. I hope that we see a bit more creativity in the Welsh backline, because it's going to take more than muscle and guts to beat the South Africans.
I'm sat here. I know that I'm Welsh and that I'm optimistic by my very genes. But I just can't believe we're talking about this side. We beat them in the last 12 months, and this is a side that's lost to Japan. Guys, surely we've got absolutely nothing to worry about.
You beat them in the last 12 months for the first time ever.
Second time.
Second best.
Is it?
Anyway.
You sure? Yeah,
I was there, 99 Butte. Anyway, Guy.
Okay, there you go.
Obviously, when we saw them lose to Japan, we didn't think South Africa were going to do much damage. And I do agree with Mac and Pat. They have come back fighting. They've swept everyone aside as they've gone. But to be honest, I no disrespect to Scotland, because I don't think Scotland played very well in that game, as well as they should have, based on their squad. I don't think they've been really challenged, and I know they've lost the match, but that's because I think they lost that themselves. They didn't get beat; they beat themselves. I think we're going to turn up with the first real challenge. We're going to actually front up, because that's what we're there for. It's one ball at the end of the day. We're going to pick Dan Lydiard. We're going to tackle them all day. To be honest, their second rows, they are monsters and they are big carriers. But at the same time, we did play against the South African team 12 months ago, as we've all mentioned, and we did a number on them. They didn't come close to scoring. Lee Halfpenny kicked his points all day, and we beat them. And I can't see it going any other way apart from a penalty fest again, which I think we'll edge. And if we can minimise the scrums as much as possible, because to be honest, it's a good appointment that we've got Wayne Barnes coming in, because he is favourable to us, because he is a Northern Hemisphere ref in the first place, so he is looking to ref us the way he usually refs in the Premiership. But I think if we can put them under pressure, they will concede penalties. They've got an open side, but he's not a really a true open side. He's a bit of a 6 9/10. Okay, and I know that doesn't really make much difference. But when we are talking about little percentages, and Sam Morgan can get over the ball, get us a few penalties, I think we'll kick them all day, and I think it will be very tight. But I think we'll edge it.
So obviously, selection has been the buzzword for the whole World Cup. Who, in one word, who are you picking at 13?
Tyler Morgan. Those 2 words.
And in Luke Charteris, we've probably got the best. The South Africans have probably got the best driving maul in the world, and we've got the best driving maul defender in the world. Does he have to start?
Yes, I believe he does. I think Bradley played fantastically well against England. I think he fronted up and give the English forwards something else to think about, because I don't think the English thought we put up that much of a fight up front. I think England were more scared of us behind with Roberts and Scott Williams. But I think he has to start, because he's just played his way in. He did this 4 years ago, if you remember. He's always been on the outskirts of the Charteris, and coming into 2011, he was just pushing his way in, and for some reason, himself and Hugh Bennett just exploded onto the scene and were 2 of our best players, and it's happening again. I think when Charteris gets a run in the side, he just excels, because he's just an athlete being 6'10" and being able to run all day. He's as strong as an ox. You can see that when he's actually in the scrum, he actually puts his weight behind the props, and we actually seem to hold our own rather than go backwards, even with Big Brad in there. So I think he has to start. And
it's nice to have a selection dilemma, but Scotland have got a horrible one because of a ban to 2 players. Mac, what's your take on that situation?
Well, it's just disgraceful in my opinion. I mean, I think the tackle. I mean, I saw the footage today. I mean, I can see where they're coming from, but a 3-week ban, it just doesn't warrant that. I mean, I think Gray probably deserves it more than Ford. Ford was committed to the ruck, doing completely legal clear out. Gray lifted the legs, and that's what obviously caused the tip tackle, and he landed on his neck. He didn't fall from any height. It was completely accidental. But Piper, the referee, was right in front of it. Didn't even give a yellow card. Didn't even do anything with it. So I thought it was very inconsistent from the referee, and I think it's just going to show that the Rugby World Cup is becoming all the decisions have been very inconsistent in terms of the bans as well.
Patty, stay with us.
Can I just jump in there, guys? Can I just jump in there just to make a point, because I know we're going to get to the disciplinary procedures, but Ross Ford and Johnny Gray had 3 weeks, and Marcel Lebosch had a week, and they did exactly the same thing on the same day, I think. They both lifted someone up and not even drilled them into the ground. They just dropped them on their head.
Well, that's the issue, isn't it? That there isn't that consistency. So if we have a look at the contentious ones so far, Alisana Tuilagi is banned for 5 weeks for essentially running. David Pocock makes deliberate contact with the knee to a player and doesn't even get cited. We'll get to you now if you couldn't stay awake with us for half a second. You got Sean O'Brien, who punches someone in the belly off the ball, and he gets a week. And then you get this non-tackle, and you get 2 Scottish boys banned for 3 weeks. Now, Pat, I'll give you 30 seconds to try and defend what Pocock did.
firstly, he barely touches him. It's a little knee jab. The player on the ground is holding on to him, so cheating, essentially. He's lucky he didn't get a knock to the face. He's dropped a knee in him a little bit. Oi, piss off, get off me. Stop cheating in a World Cup game. That's what's happened. People have blown up about it. Granted, they're treading dangerous water because they've set a very dangerous precedent this World Cup with anything even remotely untowards. But I think that's just horseshit and really pedantic, and they're playing rugby, not tiddlywinks.
All right, well, you tell me then that doesn't warrant that Alessandro Tuilagi, his knee situation, that warrants a ban and Pocock's doesn't.
No, that's horseshit as well.
So, well, that's what we're saying. We need to see a bit of consistency across the board, and at the moment, we're just not seeing that.
So Pat, do you agree with?
Absolutely. I think Tuilagi's just looks bad. Pocock certainly doesn't look bad because it isn't bad. Tuilagi was just running as a big fella does, and every now and then there are speed bumps in the way of Tuilagi. It happened to be in the form of a small Japanese rugby player, so it's not exactly his fault. It wasn't deliberate knee raising, which does happen and shouldn't happen, and that's what they were being very careful of. But they got it wrong on that occasion, as people are want to do. No one's perfect.
So what you're saying is, Pat, is that a knee's fine, a punch is a week, and then actual tackling a player is 3 weeks. Is that what you're?
No, well, I disagree with the Scottish one as well. To be fair, they've only got one right out of all that. And that's not giving David Pocock anything. I think the punch should have been more than a week. That was off the ball. Nowhere. I mean, it was just childish. It looked like 2 5-year-olds at a playground arguing over some Lego blocks. It's just, wait, give it back, whack.
Right.
You're professional rugby players and adult men. You can't be doing that.
Right, we'll leave it there for now. Otherwise, we'll be on it forever. And sadly, I don't think it's going to be the last time that we're talking about bans this World Cup. So I'm sure we'll have a chance to revisit it. So let's get into our Fantasy 15 team. Now, I've taken a fair bit of stick for putting Gethin Jenkins into the penciling him in last week. Well, I'm just going to defend myself here now, right? So it was Jason Leonard who was my only other viable option because Pat picked someone on the wrong side of the scrum. Leave it. And the reason I went for Jenkins is because Jason Leonard went on on the same number as Lions tours as Gethin Jenkins did. Gethin Jenkins was an out-and-out starter, and Jason Leonard was a benchman. So if Jason Leonard isn't the best tight head in in a Lions squad, then there's no way he can be the best in the professional era. I rest my case, and now we'll get on to tight heads. Seeing as you're front rower, Pat, we'll let you start.
Osteran is the only choice. 2 World Cups, phenomenal player, longevity, and the absolute meat axe of a human being. Everything you want in a tight end.
Mackie?
Well, my choice, unfortunately, never actually won a World Cup. It's Carl Heyman. I think he was an unbelievable tight end. I think if he'd played and still been in New Zealand, he probably would have still been playing at this World Cup. I think he's that good. He's still playing, starting for too long.
Guy Griff?
Considering Pat picked Patricio Noriega as a loose head when he's actually a tight head, and he's not picked him now as an actual tight head, doesn't mean he's that good.
He's played both sides. It's Oster right now. Fine, God.
Go back to bed, Paddy. Guy, who's your shout?
Patricio Noriega, and I hope he makes it because it's my choice.
Thank you. So, obviously, last week we put our hookers forward. Patty, you put forward Kevin Mialamu. And the boys put forward Keith Wood through Corsi and Johnny Smith. It's going to have to be John Smith for me. The way that he led the side, and then towards the end of his career, then switching over to prop as well. I thought, as Pat's rightly mentioned throughout the show, I know absolutely nothing about the front row, but that switching of position is something pretty special for me, and I still can't forgive Kevin Mialamu for what he did to Brian O'Driscoll in 2005. Yes, I'm holding a grudge, and it is my decision. So there, John Smith, you're in. Australia against Scotland on Sunday at Twickenham. Is there anyone else going to win this one, Guy, apart from the Aussies?
No.
Okay. Matt, do you want to come back on that?
Well, I think losing Ford and Gray is going to be a massive blow. Gray's the third top tackler in the World Cup. You know, he's come leaps and bounds, and I think not having him will be a blow. But Ford's got 93 caps as well. Not having him, that's going to deter the line out. He's a big boy as well. So in the scrum, while an ever improving Australia scrum, you're going to need that. And we've got a player on the bench who's only got 14 caps. So against Stephen Moore, he's winning his 100th. So that's going to be tough. But I think Scotland, I think they will lose. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to say Australia are going to win. But I think they'll give it all they got. They got to the quarters. That was their aim. But I don't think they'll get any further. I think Australia will probably win by about 10, 12 points.
Patty, how many are you going to win by?
Probably not more than 15, to be honest. Scotland are a excuse me, I'm very tired. Scotland are a good team, and they've proven that. The last few times we've played them. In fact, they keep beating us for some reason. It's really weird. I just want to point out the last time we did the Grand Slam, which is beating all four of the British and Irish nations on tour, was 1984. We're on track to do that this time, on way to World Cup glory. So just keep that in mind. Just quickly, I quickly Googled prop positions, and I'm a little embarrassed as a front rower. Osterrunt was a loose head, and is a loose head prop. and therefore, yes, it is Patricio Noriega at right head and Kevin Mialamu at hooker. So that's actually the front row we have so far. So.
Okay, right. I think we're going to have to draw a line under it there because Patty needs to go back to bed. The boys will post their quarter-final predictions on the Facebook page underneath. Feel free to challenge them on it. Make a few bets, and whoever out of our panelists, whoever is furthest away with the correct predictions, will have a forfeit in store for them next week. I'd also like to congratulate all the panelists this week for not mentioning the E word. That's why Sam Whiting has been banned this week. Will Corsi has been banned as well this week, and even our substitute Luke Milton has been banned for a very good reason. It's not worth talking about it, so we just draw a line under it. And he's a bad, so we banned him this week. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. This has been Dropout 22, a GD Media production.